G'day guys, how's it going? Welcome back of course to the Time Bomb channel, and I hope all is good in your part of the world. Watch a review of the Roamer Searock 2, the Swiss watch brand that not many people talk about. And of course this one has been lent into the channel by the good people over at First Class Watches, and do mention the Time Bomb channel if you are heading over there for a purchase inquiry. Now, I don't know why, but I kind of really dig the name Searock. It's a very, very cool name for a watch model. I think this is the first Roamer actually on the channel, and I'll make sure that there are more of them in the future because this one really does impress. I'm going to glove up for this one because, as you can see, it's a pretty shiny watch. Okay, so we are now suitably attired. So the Searock, as you can probably see, you don't need me to tell you this, is sort of that sporty dresser. And yes, there are certainly some explorer vibes going on here, and it looks really, really classy. And when I popped it out of the box, I have to say that I was very impressed by it in that first instance. And I think, you know, it's a brand that just needs a little bit more attention. It doesn't get a lot of love or a lot of mentions in the watch reviews, watch community. There is one small issue with it, and I'm wondering if some of the eagle-eyed amongst you have spotted it already, but we'll come on to that in a second. So, kicking off with some key specs, it's 42 mils across. It is quite a substantial, just a smidgen over 50 mils north to south. It's around 10 mils deep, so, you know, good slim watch. And then it comes on some ample 22 mil lugs. It comes with a solid 100 meters worth of watery goodness and a nice piece of sapphire up top, which sits just slightly proud, but not massively above that bezel. These are on sale. They're in the sale at the moment at First Class Watches, and around £524. But I think, as you can see in my hand, it's quite a large watch and quite a large fit. Let me just throw it on wrist here so you can see what I'm talking about. For reference, as always, my wrist is 7 1/4, and I think the top-down aspect works very well indeed, but I think the length of the lugs makes it just that little bit too long. As I say, my wrist 7 1/4. So if you've got a 6-inch wrist, I think this one is really going to be too big. As you can see there, you've got some gappage either side. I mean, I would happily wear this, but I think surprising to me is that, you know, I wear 42 mil dive watches regularly and all the time, and this one does feel that little bit longer from the top to bottom, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's that little bit large. In addition to which, the dial aperture then is actually 34 mils across, which is huge in comparison to many watches. So it's very clear and legible, but it does inflate, I think, the overall fit on wrist. Apparently that is a white dial. It's white textured. Let me just zoom in a fraction. But I think there's so much texture and everything going on there. I mean, you can't tell me that that's not silver. It's really, really, really pretty, but I don't get why they call these things white dials. It happens with a lot of brands, not just these guys. But yeah, I mean, it's so silvery. But again, fantastic. It sort of reminds me of you know, the surfaces of moons and planets. And there's a very quick aside here. I'm not a fan at all of the BBC and what they stand for, so it's very hard to make this recommendation. But if you do get a chance to check out the Solar System documentary with Brian Cox, it's super interesting, and you're going to see lots of planet surfaces that look a lot like this watch dial. That was the the segue there. Moving on, the Searock text on the dial there is either absolutely the right color or absolutely the wrong color, depending on your preferences. It's either going to hide away when you don't want to see it, when you think that there's too much text on there, or it's going to be a lot of fun hunting for it if you think that it is the right color and yeah, the right aspect. I think the thing that they've done though is that automatic just, you know, it's just redundant. The 1080M, get those two bits of text off the dial, leave the Searock there to be played with. The orange is pretty much the same as the long stripe of orange that you've got there on that very long silky seconds hand. You see, that's the length a second hand should be, tricking along there beautifully in those minute markers. I mean, yeah, fantastic. Nice, yeah, nice little bit of player color on that they've got there. If this silver white doesn't work for you, they do come in other colors. I think, there's the Searock 1 and the 2, and this obviously then the 2 that come in blacks and blues and things. So again, you've got a little bit more color options there. The case body and lines are excellent, really very, very, very nice curves there. Maybe they needed to have dropped a little bit further down, and that's what might help the wrist print fit as well. But then it does lead into the watch's party piece, and that is that bracelet, with those stand-up middle links there. I mean, just dragon scale stuff going on there. I think it might be a little bit Marmite for some people because, yeah, there's I mean, it just shines and pops. I mean, some people are going to love that. Other people are going to say it's too blingy. Personally, I think it's fantastic because so few watch brands do anything with bracelets like this. So really, really nice. And again, it's something that they've kept, I think, from, the history of the brand. Again, very nice. I sincerely hope as well that they've put some very good coating on this steel to keep it looking like that for as long as possible. It is a little jangly, and there's quite a lot of movement in it, and I don't know if that's done on purpose or just because tolerances. And I'm struggling to tell you if those are hollow links or not, because they are quite light. I mean, the watch head is quite heavy, and you do notice the transition between head and bracelet is quite noticeable. So I mean, it's either very lightweight steel that they've used here, or those are hollow. I sincerely hope they're not hollow, because no, I don't want to be that disappointed. The other thing to mention, of course, is obviously with it being the butterfly at the bottom, you notice that you've got double pins on all of these, so you are going to be need to be very, very patient indeed. You've got lots of pins there to be playing around with whilst you're trying to find that good fit on wrist. Round the back, you do get a porthole, and that allows you then, let me just pop it around so you can see the nice bit on this side here. You can see through then to the SOP rod P24 movement, and essentially that's an ETA 28-24-2 clone, or its baseline. Not a bad baseline, I think, giving you around 38 hours of power reserve, and it looks pretty decent in the back there as well. Yeah, quite nice to see that. You spot the little jewels around there, looking pretty good. I think our SOP rod, owned by Festina. I don't know, maybe I just read that or I'm imagining it. Please do correct me if I'm wrong. You've got connected to that movement, then you obviously have a signed crown, and again, it's quite big. And the thing that I really did notice about it on here is that the sorry, wrong one. Yeah, that's it. Sometimes it's difficult to see through the camera. There's no wishy-washy looseness at all with that movement. It's ultra robust and solid. There's resistance here. You notice as well the distance that the crown pops out, and as well to sort of re-engage it there, you can really feel there's a lot of resistance on the other end as well. So a lot of interesting aspects there. You're really interacting with your watch movement here. Very nice indeed. As you can see from the hands there is loom on the hands, but it's just on the hands only, and there's such a thin sliver. Up close it looks fantastic in the dark, but at wrist length it is a little bit difficult to see, because as I say, those hands are so needly angular. There really isn't much surface area there to get much loom on. But again, it's a sporty dress, so perhaps people who are looking to purchase this are not overly fussed around the loom on here. So yeah, lots of massive positives on that dial and everything, and that's what leads me to that tiny issue that I referenced before, and you can probably see it from here. I think that Cyclops is not fitted on straight. I think it's at an angle, and I also think it's a little bit too high over the date window. I don't know what you guys think. Is it my OCD? Am I seeing ghosts here? I just think, yeah, just you see the way that it frames there. I think it's just slightly at an angle and slightly above. Again, most people might not even notice that, and yeah, you've got to watch it like me, that yeah, that can't unsee things. Um, so yes, there's definitely some sort of Seiko Saab, Tissot Gentleman Explorer vibes to this one. But it's coming from a brand that few people are going to recognize. So you're certainly going to stand out from the crowd a little bit. And as I say, the aesthetics of that dragon scale bracelet, I mean, are absolutely fantastic. I mean, what a good looking bracelet. It might be a little bit too brash for some people who are looking for something a little bit more subtle. There's heaps of history, of course, behind the brand, with them issuing watches to our Rhodesian buddies over there during the 70s. And then I think in the 90s, they were bought by a Chinese group who've successfully kept the brand alive, with regular releases and updates. But again, I've never met anyone wearing a Roamer, and it's a brand that perhaps warrants a little bit more attention from the watch world, and probably a little bit more interest, because I think this is a very good looking watch indeed, and you're getting that Swissness that many people seek. I think, though, the downside to this watch, as I said before, I think it's just a little bit too big. You could easily see, make this a 40, drop these down to, drop the length down to 48, something like that, and I think it's going to fit on a lot more people's wrists. But then you've got an 8-inch wrist. This is going to be ideal. There's been conversation, I think, as well. Was I reading something the other day about people talking around, oh man, watches shouldn't be over 38 mils across and blah, blah. I completely disagree. I think there's wrist sizes out there that, fit all watch sizes. Anyway, massive thanks again to First Class Watches for the loan of this one. Thanks to you guys for your time and for your view, and look forward to your comments down below. Catch you all in the next vid. Cheers, guys.